Chicken run, chicken run. Boy, I never get tired of watching that. I'm Johnny.
I'm Trina.
That chicken run.
So, we are introducing ourselves. I think we're gonna be J&T's Down on the Funny Farm. And I say funny farm because we always have funny adventures to tell everybody about.
Leave something in the comments. Let us know what you think about that name.
Oh, this is Johnny.
I'm Johnny. And this is Trina.
I'm Trina. So today we are going to embark on a new adventure.
Wait. Let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Okay, so several years ago, we didn't live here. We lived in another place. And I thought it would be good. The kids were younger. I wanted to get them into doing things. We were already using wood as our source of heat. And if anybody that burns wood knows, that's doing things. But I wanted to get them involved in some animals. And some livestock type animals. So in the spring, we started with chicks. And first we got a few chicks, and I thought, well, they're small and they're cheap. So we got a few more, and a few more, and a few more. And then we got some ducks. And before you knew it,
Rabbits.
yeah, we had rabbits. Before you knew it, we had about 100 chickens. And how many ducks did we start with?
We started with 4. We ended
4
up
ducks.
with 8.
Because we got some ducks from somebody else.
Yeah.
And so I had about 100 chickens and 4 ducks.
5
and
rabbits.
They were growing. And no place to put them. Mistake number 1. Always get your stuff ready before you go get your livestock. But I went out there, and in our pole barn, I called it an aviary. And I used some lumber and some chicken wire, and I made a big cage, enough for all these chicks as they were developing. And then I went to work on a chicken coop, and I built about a 10 by 12 chicken coop, and I made some mistakes there. That's part of it, making
Not
mistakes.
many mistakes.
No, but I made.
It was a really nice coop.
And I moved the chickens in there, and then I built a smaller shed. And we moved the ducks in there next to the chickens. And that's where we started. And a few years later, I decided I wanted to raise beef. Now, mind you, we were on a little under 2 acres. And so I went to a local dairy and we picked up two calves.
They were only 24 hours.
Yeah, they were 24 hours old. And I had a place built for them first before we brought them home. It was small, but it was enough for a calf. And
by the way,
we brought them home. Yeah, we brought them home in our minivan. That's how we did things back then, in the minivan.
Took the middle seat out, put cardboard on the bottom, and tarps down there, and
then we just brought them home. And it's kind of funny watching calves look out the back window of a minivan. Anyways, so we got them home, and I thought, well, this is cool. I got started on those, and I said, well, let's go get some more. I want to go to auction. I love auctions. And when I go to an auction, I always feel like I got to buy something. So we went up to a local dairy auction, and came home with 3 more calves. And so we quickly built a pen and got them going. And we started raising these calves, and it wasn't long. And my wife said, you know, she said, because I bought these with the intention of meat. And my wife wanted a pet calf.
yeah, because I'm a huge animal lover.
She
But
is.
don't let him fool you. He likes them too.
So she looked online and she decided she wanted a Jersey because She thought they were really pretty, and they are. And she found one from a guy about, I don't know, an hour and a half away or so. And her and the daughter took the seats out of the out of the minivan and put down the cardboard and tarp, and off they went.
On the highway and everything.
and they came home with Faylene. So we put Faylene in the backyard, and next thing you know, back to auction we go. And we went down there, and just, I don't remember, maybe I was buying some hay or whatever, and we sat in on the auction, and here come these goats. So I bought goats. And there was a lamb, so I bought a lamb.
7 baby goats and a little lamb named Sweater.
Named the lamb Sweater. I was going to eat him because, well, I like you both. Lamb. And
we didn't.
Mind you, this is all on less than 2 acres. So we started going, and we had coon dogs. Did some coon hunting and some showing, and eventually the township came around. And this is some months later, and they said, hey, you can't have that. And a matter of fact, at that point, they said, well, you have too many dogs, too. So we rehomed a couple of the dogs to some other guys that were hunting coons. And we had some dogs that were out of some very good stock.
Well, we rehomed 2 of our blue tick coon hounds. The rest of them have passed on, either due to older age or cancer or something of the other.
So, and I took the goats back to auction in the lamb, and we sold them back at auction. And of course, I took a loss except for the lamb. I got the best price per pound that day because that was one fat lamb. And we had the cows. At the time, we had a minivan, and now these calves were getting pretty big. And didn't really want to take them to the minivan, so they had a guy come around with a truck and trailer and picked them up, all but 2 of them. And we had arranged with my dad to build a pen over there and house these 2 over there. We kept Faylene, of course, and then we kept Blackie. That we were going to raise for our own meat.
Blackie was a steer.
Yeah, Blackie was a steer.
I tried to make him a pet. That didn't work.
That didn't work.
He was actually an awfully nice steer, though.
He was. Yeah, funny story. She called me up one day and said, hey, she said, could you pick up Brooke, our daughter, and from school? She had, I don't know, cheerleading practice or track, something. Okay, cheerleading. And I said, well, I can't right now. And she said, why? I said, because I'm pulling a big ass. And the phone just kind of went silent.
It took me a minute to realize, and I was like, I realized what he was doing.
So I took Blackie off to the butcher, and we got it done. And at first, once we got him in the freezer, nobody else would eat him. And I thought, well, phooey on that. I put a lot of money into this steer. And it was supposed to help our grocery bill, and everybody needed to eat him.
And he joked because for, I don't know, quite a while, I wouldn't eat him for quite a while. He kept saying, here, you should try a Blackie burger, and I said, I just can't talk to you right now.
That was after I found out how delicious it was, and I thought, well, maybe them not eating this is a good thing. So I started chiding her, trying to keep them away from it. Talking about naming it Blackie Burgers and Blackie Steak, and
because you know if you name it, you're not supposed to eat it.
So, but she broke down and she tried one, and that was the end of it.
That was probably the best beef I've ever had, and I knew where the meat came from because, well, we hand raised him from a baby, so it ended up being pretty good.
So I had to share my Blackie, and
Blackie fed our family for a long time, though.
And now, after that, we decided that it was time to move, and so started looking. And we found this place. At first we thought it was 12 acres, but that wasn't taking into account the extra lot. And all total, it's a 15-acre spread. Some marshy land, and the house is built in around 1850. And when we walked in, my wife wasn't real into this house, and the realtor, she said, well, I can see you're not really into this house, so I have some ideas. And I said, wait a minute. I said, I could see what this house could become inside. And well, now we're here. And we had some remodeling done. We got a good price on the house, and we were able to add in the remodeling. And since then, we've been here, how long?
4.5, actually embarking on 5 years. And my only stipulation for getting the house was, I wasn't crazy about the location, how close it is to, we've got a main road here that's very well traveled. It's a 55-mile-an-hour road, but the only stipulation that I had that I was going to move into this house is that when it was remodeled, that all of the natural wood, the original wood that was in here, the baseboards and the door trims and window trims and stuff like that, stayed fully intact. That was the selling point for me. I love old farmhouses. I appreciate an aged home, and we're still appreciating it.
Oh, yeah.
Every day.
Yep, and I didn't disagree. I liked all the same stuff. It was a big attraction. So everything else that was wrong with the house, I could see easily changed. I just have a real good vision for that, I guess. So since then, we've put up some fences. You can tell back here I use railroad ties for my fence posts. Not something I'd necessarily do again. It just so happened that at the time they were putting in a high-speed rail in the area, so fence posts were very cheap and readily available. And I thought, well, why pay the same price or more for a smaller cedar pole when I could put in a railroad tie and it would last probably twice as long. So that's what I did. I hauled home all these railroad ties and augered and dug and got them in. And now we have this pasture, and we're going to be expanding it, not with railroad ties though. And I'll show you videos on that while I do it. And if you've seen our backyard, we fenced that in for some of our furry family members to keep them from being harmed in the road, and feathered. And it also helps to keep the predators away from our chickens, because we have had predator loss.
Except aerial predators,
well,
because we have had a couple chickens taken by hawks.
I come out one day and found a hawk right on top of one of the chickens, and it was too late for that chicken, but I scared it off. And so now I tend not to let the chickens out unless I'm home, and at the time I was home and thought I was keeping an eye out the back window, and I guess I was, because that's how I saw the hawk.
It was my favorite chicken too. It was a little white silky hen, and I have to stop picking favorites, because every time I pick a favorite out of my hens, something gets it. So.
But she still has a little white silky hen. That's her favorite again. A little black spot.
Don't say that.
So that's where we're at now. And today, I think we might be, or soon, if it doesn't work out today, be getting a new addition to Colt, and that's exciting.
Oh, you hadn't told them what we were getting. You just said a new family member. See, so I drive, or I work the graveyard shift.
I've already told her this story.
Oh.
She didn't know that.
Oh.
Anyways, and it was a thing. So anyway, so today we're looking at, or soon.
Today.
We're looking at getting this Colt.
They're bringing him today.
Okay, so they're bringing him. I guess that's going to work out. And I guess our future plans is, and I'll show you our ragtag chicken coop sometime, and share with you our plans for the new coop. And I'd also like to build a small barn and get a couple milking goats, and raise some hogs. I don't know yet if I'm going to raise any more steers. I have not decided on that. They take a lot of effort, and it all depends on how much pasture I find that we have. That's one thing that's nice about when you have pasture, is that in the summertime you don't really have to feed them. You just let them out on the pasture. It seems how we'll have two separate pastures. We'll be able to keep pressure off one when it gets low and put pressure back on the other one and back and forth. So we'll just see how that goes and decide if having calves again is right for us. I'd like to. It's very good meat. Some of the meat I sold off of Blackie, those guys are ready for more, and they've told me. They've been telling me ever since that they want more. And we've got some local neighbors and stuff that are interested should we start raising steers. So that's where we're at. So I hope you'll come along on this journey with us as we build our homestead. I'd like to do some raised bed gardens next year, and we'll just take one thing at a time and see how it unfolds. No pressure.
We have done a big garden before.
We've done a big garden. It wasn't very successful because the weeds overtook it, and it takes time. And
well, it was kind of successful. We canned a lot. We had fresh vegetables. We planted our garden that year about a week later than everybody else, and everybody else's was wiped out with by the first frost.
By the frost. We had some late frost that year, and it was getting hard to find plants because everybody had to plant their gardens twice because we had real nice weather early in the year, and then it frosted, and so everybody was buying. They bought gardens twice, garden plants, so it was hard to find plants.
But we gave a lot of our vegetables away to a lot of our neighbors and stuff like that, and they were really grateful.
So I think next year I'd like to try some raised bed gardens. I find them more appealing, I think, and easier to take care of. But that's next year. So.
And we're good on feeding ourselves, but we also like to share.
Yeah, we do.
We have neighbors that bring over like cucumbers and squash and stuff like that. And we all try to help each other out.
Come along with us and join this journey, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as we will. Bye.
See you next time.